Well, there is an NIKKE dev note that is released on the 26th of June. Wait a minute, it's only the 17th. So this was the 16th of June. And they've released the developer's note. I haven't read it yet, that's a problem, to be honest. I should have read it, but let's wing it. Apparently it talks a lot about Centi favorite item because they canceled that whole thing. They bugged the hell out of it in the maintenance, extended it for 3 hours and then couldn't fix it, and so they just retracted it. They prepared developers now to explain the development team's assessment of future response plans as quickly as possible after reviewing various opinions we have received regarding Centi's favorite item. Various opinions such as this thing is useless and straight up makes her worse in PvP at the last upgrade. Okay. This will also share updates improvements currently being followed. Yeah. Okay. Status and plans regarding Centi's favorite item. So apparently this is the majority of the dev note, which is funny. Let's read their story. First of all, since Centi's favorite item update last February, many of you have asked about the upgrade direction of Centi's favorite item and what the intention is behind this favorite item's effect renewal. Sure. Since this is the first time the effects of favorite item are being renewed, I believe this is something that commanders may be particularly curious about. Therefore, before explaining the details, I would like to first explain the development team's overall direction when producing favorite item. Favorite items. In Goddess of Victory, NIKKE, we strive to ensure that each character has as many viable uses as possible. Okay, they're just lying, alright. As this is a game that showcases the stories and charms of various characters, we believe this direction should be supported by combat balance as well. Don't know what the fuck that means. This entire thing was completely pointless, okay? It has zero worth. In NIKKE, we consider it important that characters can be used across various content for a relatively long period after being acquired. Only if they're pilgrims or overspec, and limiteds. Anybody else, they don't really care. And that even characters not currently part of core meta teams are given opportunities to be used again in specific situations. Depends if the character is popular enough. Even if they can no longer show their former status, we as the development team feel a quiet sense of pride whenever we see NIKKEs like Litter and Scarlet being featured in content. Yeah, do you really? Are you really happy about Litter still being featured in content? I'm gonna go on a whim and say no, you're not, because you would rather be selling characters that weren't as crazy, and you would rather not have had to sell characters as insane as the other burst ones, for a longer period of time, so that you could more gradually increase that power creep, but Litter was there from the beginning and you just couldn't. Damn. In strategy guides, the community discussions is natural that mainly the NIKKEs employed as tier 1 and most frequently used NIKKEs are mentioned. Yeah, it's almost like people like being able to use the characters. That's crazy, right? And not to mention that you also literally made it so that those characters that are gonna be meta and are gonna be, or rather the characters that are important in the story, you made them meta, right? All the side characters, is just kind of whatever. Maybe they have a use in PvP. Maybe they're completely worthless. Snow Crane. Sora. Right? You don't really feel that way. It's funny they mentioned tier though. It's funny. However, when the development team looks at balance, we must consider a much broader scope. Recognize that some commanders have not yet recruited a sufficient number of NIKKEs. Okay, no, you don't care. You've never cared. That's always been a problem, especially now. If you come into NIKKE as a new player, good fucking luck. It's gonna take you so long to actually catch up, because having a big roster and being able to build the teams for like solo raid and stuff, and even unit raid, even for anomaly interception, it's gonna take you so long to get the right characters and then to build them to a point where you can clear the content. It's gonna take you a long time. Unless you whale, that's a different story. But that's what the point is. I really believe there's also a need for NIKKEs who can fill the gap when certain core NIKKEs are unavailable. I guess. I mean, yeah, but you're mostly just, okay, I'll settle with this for now, but I don't want to upgrade it, because if I do, the limited materials that I would be using are gonna be gone when I actually get a good unit, so you don't really want to upgrade it. Okay. That is why the development team looks at balance not only in terms of top-tier meta compositions, but also to ensure that meaningful choices exist for various progression stages and roster situations. I'm gonna be real, that just straight up never felt. I don't know what to tell you. I've basically never felt that. Any of the not just super meta characters are just very niche specific uses, and it's like, are you actually trying to make a character that would help someone that doesn't have the other characters? Also, that's kind of pointless because, okay, so you're just increasing the pool of characters for the sake of having another option for, like, it just doesn't make sense, right? Like, okay, you're diluting the pool, and then what? So completely, I don't know, I don't think this is true. I don't think this is true in the first place, but okay. From this perspective, he also had the intention to create a place in PvE content for commanders who primarily enjoy the arena that is PvP. What? Okay. So, very small number that actually do this. However, these people cannot compete in PvE. Unless you are a giga ultra whale buying absolutely everything, you can't be competitive in both PvP and PvE. That's impossible. Because PvP, you end up building completely different characters, and if you want to actually, again, be competitive, there's very little overlap in the characters, and you're wasting a lot of like rocks and skill mats on upgrading the PvP characters. Just literally go ask any of the top PvP players, right? They're not, like, they might be top 3% in like solo raids and stuff, but they're not going that crazy. They might be high in their unions because they also like their level matters, but for SP Arena, you know, your unit level matters. But besides that, not much there. One representative example of the destruction in practice is Moran. Okay, so you made one character like that. Okay. I mean, sure, yeah, Moran was really strong in PvP, and they made her also good in PvE. For how long until we get another character that has that kind of CDR and then just overtakes? I just gotta, like, she doesn't actually have, like, I know we were all glazing her, and she's good, but she actually doesn't have that much staying power in the meta, okay? Because she doesn't have that many damage buffs, right? Unless maybe you can build her own damage to matter. It's in an electric weak raid, there's kind of no points. Centi's favorite item was also produced with the same consideration in mind. I don't know what they were thinking. I don't think they were thinking anything. Centi's a NIKKE who has long been more familiarly used in PvP. She was only meta in PvE at the beginning of the game until they started releasing units like Crown. Even if not to the same extent as Moran, we hope that her pick rate in PvE would at least increase compared to before, and that she could be treated as one of the viable choices among NIKKEs that fulfill defensive roles. How? Basically what they're saying is that they're actually completely incompetent in understanding how the meta works, and then even understanding how PvP works, because they ruined the character for PvP and PvE. She was completely unused. She was completely unused. However, after the actual update, the effect fell short of our expectations. As a result, research and analysis centered around PvP, where Centi had primarily excelled in the past, and additional issues were identified through the process. With the change from a shared shield to individual shields, a situation occurred where opposing commanders in arena would actually acquire burst gauge faster. Whoa! Holy shit, guys, they figured out how PvP works. What? No. This is a thing that people that play PvP knew for so long because of other characters. This is why characters like Crown didn't get used in PvP. Don't quote me on that. I think it's true. I think it's true. But I've heard about this for way sooner than Centi. So, they straight up just don't know how their game works. They just don't understand the meta of their game, and man, it's really funny just hearing it straight from their mouth. It's so funny. While the development team proceeded with balancing aimed at improving PvE usability, we failed to sufficiently identify the issue of decreased usability in PvP during that process. Wow. And guess what? She wasn't even used in PvE, man. Nobody used her in PvE either. Oh, man. To conclude, it is fair to say there was a clear design flaw in Centi's favorite item that went beyond the development team's original intentions. Although each NIKKE's favorite item has varying degrees of efficiency increase, in Centi's case, this decision could hardly be considered an improvement in efficiency, so we made the unavoidable decision to renew favorite item skills for the first time. Alright, place your bets, guys. Place your bets. Is it gonna be that they're gonna make her favorite item now so OP that she actually is a meta burst too? Or is she gonna be purely PvP again? But now you would want to max her favorite item. What do you think it's gonna be, guys? What do you think it's gonna be? Place your bets. The purpose of this Centi's favorite item renewal was to sufficiently secure the utility in PvE as originally intended, and to ensure that the development team's intentions are adequately conveyed through actual performance and gameplay experience. In this process, to ensure that the intention to buff PvE capabilities would be more clearly communicated to commanders, even through text alone, we adjusted it to provide some offensive benefits as well. And this is the reason why the renewed effects for Centi's favorite item have a different concept compared to previous favorite item effects. Are they making her a damage dealer? I don't really get it. Additionally, to ensure the issue of reduced usability in PvP, we were prepared to revert the shield operation logic to its original format. We determined it was necessary to ensure that what Centi had been used previously would not be unreasonably undermined. We wanted to clarify that during this process, we had no intention of making adjustments that would disadvantage specific content for specific commanders. On the contrary, we want to make it clear that we spent a significant amount of time deliberating on how to provide more meaningful utility for both favorite item and Centi. However, what was determined, Mr. Charlie Chuckham is an schedule orientation. Favorite item in February. We had determined that it would best to address an issue before the next scheduled favorite item update in July. Now that it is June, we urged to expedite the improvements. We only announced these changes on the day of the June 11th patch, and the unit raid starting in June 12th. Commanders did not have sufficient time to redo the okay, what? No way. It would have more appropriately explained our overall intention first and issue prior notice so the commanders could prepare for content. With zero budget run caused by the failure to properly balance into favorite item in February and second impact PvP. Next, we would like to share our future improvements for the favorite item. The main issue of those being prepared without adequate explanations. So we intend to maintain the overall direction of our intended modification of this favorite item. Wait, no way they're just saying, oh no, we're sorry that it was just, you couldn't get it in time for Union Raid. All you need is use PvP to have meaningful roles. Okay, so they're just saying the same thing again. And then applying previously announced stats as is, we can renew them as digital. Discrepancy between the expected strength based on the announced text and the results of actual balanced tests. Since many commanders have expressed concerns that the changes might still be too much, we will not take this lightly when we examine this together. There are also commanders who are hoping for enhancements or supplementary buffs for Centi in PvP through his favorite item. We will review together how to add a few features that can be slightly more meaningful in PvP as well. The scheduled time frame for these improvements is late July. Okay, well, they're pushing it back a lot. We'll provide detailed information through future update notice. I don't think they released what her kit is gonna be. I don't really know what they're talking about. I don't know what they're talking about here. They didn't say what like the changes were gonna be, right? Confused caused by your gameplay. What? Through this incident, we have reconfirmed the areas the development team must examine more carefully. Yeah, it's almost like it's been like that for fucking 3.5 years. Photos are not simply stats adjustments, but a process of readjusting the utility of perception in any case. Therefore, we deeply recognize the development team's intentions alone are not enough, and that we must provide a perspective. We will take this experience to heart and strive to show you better results moving forward. Wow. Okay, so they basically did not say why they delayed it. They just kinda implied that it was because they didn't want to put it too soon to Union Raid? That's stupid as fuck. That is just stupid. That's just completely untrue. Wow. Okay. What? That is the funniest excuse I've ever heard. Okay. It's not like they announced that they weren't gonna release it literally after the maintenance ended, which they extended 3 hours. Come on. Come on, it was so obvious. It was so obvious. And maybe it wasn't the only bug, maybe they also had other bugs because they added quality of life in the last update. Oh man, that was a scary thing to say. I have the costume voting. I'm gonna be real. I won't even bother talking about this because it wasn't even what I wanted to talk about. Anyways. So, summer events, live stream as usual, sometime in June. So it's basically, it's gonna be the next event is gonna be summer. So, don't get too baited. But, yeah. Blah, blah, blah. I don't think there's anything in here that we need to address. More main story in August, for those who want to push that. Harmony Cube battery exchange. This here basically confirms to us that the Harmony Cube level is going to be maxed out at 15. Because I don't think they would add something like this just to then later say, oh well, actually you can upgrade them further. That would be a giga bitch move. So I think you're safe to exchange your cube stuff for others, for your cube batteries for others. So get your secondary cubes that are not Bastion and Resilience. Get them up, guys. Increased Harmony Cube battery rewards. Now this I'm not sure how to take, because if they're gonna increase something like this that I don't think too many people were I don't think anybody was complaining about this. Like maybe like a very new player, but they have so many other things to do with upgrade. I don't know. I don't think anybody was complaining about this, so that's why seeing this kind of change where they are also increasing the amount of income, it's kind of sus, I'm not gonna lie. So still be careful with how you're upgrading your stuff and converting. Maybe still be careful, I don't know. That's what I'm gonna do. It's a little sus. There's some Union Raid improvements. They make it so that numbers are not fucking obscured in the craziest way anymore. You can actually look at the numbers the players are doing. Members. Crazy. Union Raid is a highly popular content. I don't know about that one. Consistently enjoyed. Huh. I don't know about that one. Being in a fairly, like, high-ranked union. I don't know about that one. I don't know about that one. And players that are lower ranked, like, straight up, they don't even care. So, like, who else are you looking? Who else are you looking at? Friends social point acquisition. If you just click this once, you'll send and receive. So, here's my thing then. Okay? How about you just completely remove it, and by just having friends that log in that day, you automatically send your friends list the social points, and you receive, and it's completely hands off. How about that? How about that? How about that, man? Because, I mean, okay, if you're doing this, why not just completely remove the burden? Why even have to click the button at all? Oh, man. In closing, today's developer note was originally written to share updates regarding Centi's favorite item. Wow. So that was just the point. We also have several other improvements to announce. The developer's note ended up being longer than expected. Regarding Centi's favorite item, given that we caused confusion among commanders, we thought it would be appropriate to explain things more calmly and clearly. Calmly, yes. Aside from details regarding Centi's favorite item, we work hard to keep other content concise and focused on essential information. Red Letter does not come across as overly plain. It was funny. Man, it was funny. This year as well, this year as well, the tremendous part in affection for NIKKE June by our commanders. The entire development team has been working with great motivation. We will not take any feedback or criticism. Damn it! They've said the quiet part out loud. We will continue to review and make improvements. Any blah blah blah. Thank you for Part 2 of Archranger. Wow. We are always grateful for all commanders who love Goddess Victory Nike. So there's the developer note. Man, that was this with Centi Adam. Man, that's funny. Man, that is funny. Okay. Well, I feel like I said what I had to say, and that's the developer note. So, I guess we'll see Centi in July, guys. Late July, along with all of the other favorite items at the same time. Or whatever the fuck that is. Okay. Well, that's it. Dev notes. Am I right? Bye.